I came home like it was any other day. Keys in the bowl, shoes by the door, tie off, sleeves rolled up, leftover pasta on the counter, 2 plates in the sink, her wine glass half-rinsed like she'd gotten distracted. I started loading the dishwasher. It's funny how marriage trains you to read the air before you hear the words. I heard the front door, the shuffle of her heels, the pause in the doorway. Nicole didn't say anything at first, just watched me. I could feel her eyes on my back. Then she said, "We need to talk. 7 years teaches you the weight behind that line." This wasn't about dishes. I shut the dishwasher, turned off the faucet, dried my hands on the towel. She sat at the table, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from, eyes a little too bright, like she'd rehearsed this in the car. "I've been thinking a lot about Derek," she said. "Not us. Not our future. Derek Collins. The ex from college who popped up in stories every few months like some inside joke I wasn't invited to." I stared at her. "Okay," I said. "Why?" She exhaled hard, like I was making this difficult already. "I still have strong feelings for him." There it was. A clean shot to the chest delivered like a calendar reminder. She kept going. How they'd reconnected on social media. Just as friends at first. How they started talking more. How he understands her. How he's confident. How he goes after what he wants. I listened, not because I agreed, but because I wanted the whole truth laid out, ugly and clear. Then she dropped the line that split my life into before and after. "I want you to fight for me," she said. "I want you to learn from him. Be more confident. More like him." She actually said that. Asked me to study another man like a template so I could keep my own wife. Something in me went very still. No yelling. No begging. Just a cold clarity sliding into place. "So," I said slowly, "your solution is I become Derek to keep you." "It's not like that," she snapped, suddenly defensive. "I just need to feel that energy, that you're willing to fight for me, change for me. If you really love me, you'll try." I shook my head. "No." Her eyes flashed. "No, what?" "No, I'm not doing that," I said. "I'm not competing with another man for my own wife. I'm not auditioning for my marriage." She pushed back from the table so hard the chair legs scraped. "You're being stubborn. This is why I'm unhappy. You never fight for anything." I looked at her, at the woman I'd built a life with, who was now standing in my kitchen telling me to be more like her ex. "You walked out of this the minute you brought him into it," I said. "If you want Derek, go be with Derek. I'm not changing who I am to keep you interested." She stared at me, waiting for the backpedal that never came. When it didn't, she turned on her heel, stomped upstairs, and started packing. Closets opened, drawers slammed, hangers rattled. I stayed downstairs, leaning on the counter, listening to 7 years get folded into a suitcase. She came back down with a duffel over her shoulder and her rolling bag behind her. "I'm going to stay with Derek for a while," she announced, chin high, like it was a power move. "I hope you use this time to think about what you really want." "I already have," I said. That landed. For a second, something flickered in her eyes. Uncertainty, maybe, but she buried it under attitude. "You'll regret this," she said. "Maybe. But I doubted it." She walked out. The door shut. The engine started. Tail lights disappeared through the front window. The house went quiet in that way that rings. I turned back to the sink, finished loading the last plate, hit the start button. The dishwasher hummed to life, steady and mechanical. Then I sat down at the same table where my wife had just told me to be more like another man. Opened my laptop and typed into the search bar, "divorce attorney near me." 5 minutes later, I was drafting an email to a man named Mark Daniels. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just started the paperwork on the life that wasn't going to include a woman who needed me to be somebody else to love me. I called in sick the next morning, but not because I couldn't get out of bed. I wasn't broken, I was busy. Coffee, shower, clean shirt. The house felt bigger without her noise, like someone had turned off background static. I grabbed the slip of paper where I'd written Mark Daniels, 9:30 a.m., and headed downtown. His office was on the second floor of an older brick building wedged between a pawn shop and a dental clinic. No polished marble, no chrome logo wall. Just a glass door with his name on it and a hallway that smelled like dust and copier toner. The waiting room had worn chairs and magazines from last year. Felt honest. No pretending. I checked in, sat down, and stared at the carpet until a voice called, "Adam Walker?" Mark Daniels looked like every solid guy you'd want on your side in a bar fight or a courtroom. Late 50s, gray hair, tired eyes that had seen every version of this story. We shook hands, sat. He clicked his pen. "Tell me what's going on." So I did. Everything. The 3 months of just friends messages. The way Derek's name kept popping up. The line about wanting me to learn from him. Her packing a bag and leaving to stay at his place like she was making some bold romantic gesture instead of walking out on a marriage. He listened without interrupting, just notes scratching across a legal pad. When I finished, he nodded once. "Has she filed anything yet? Legal separation? Divorce? Anything?" "No," I said. "As far as I know, she's too busy playing house with Derek." "That's good," he said. "Give you the initiative. Most people sit on this for weeks, months even. You're here fast." "Figured waiting wouldn't make it hurt less," I said. He smirked faintly at that. Then he shifted into business. Questions about the house, the lease, the accounts. My income, her income. Any kids. Any abuse. Any major debts. It was clinical, practical, like taking apart an engine. He paused at one point. "You sure you want to move this quickly? Some men prefer to think." "I've been thinking for 7 years," I said. "I'm ready to act." That got a full nod. "All right, Adam. Then we start paperwork today. Petitions, disclosures, asset listings. You'll need a separate bank account. Redirect your paycheck. Keep everything calm and documented. No big scenes, no threats in text." "Not my style," I said. We went through forms and signatures. It was a lot of lines and legal words, but every one of them felt like a small brick laid in a wall between me and the chaos she'd brought into my house. When I walked back out into the sunlight 45 minutes later, I expected to feel heavier. Instead, I felt lighter. Not happy. Not yet. Just steadier. I didn't have a wife anymore, not in any real way, but I had a plan. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and a notepad. I opened a new bank account online, set my paycheck to redirect, started listing everything. Car, savings, furniture, retirement, the lease, hard facts, no drama. My phone stayed face up beside me on the table. No call from her, no text, just silence. For the first time, silence didn't feel like abandonment. Felt like room to move. The first Saturday alone, I woke up before my alarm. No perfume in the bathroom, no hair straightener cord across the counter. Just my toothbrush and my face in the mirror. The house felt like a crime scene, not bloody, just wrong. Stuff everywhere that didn't belong to the man who actually lived there. So I started cleaning. At first it was basic dishes, counters, trash. Then I opened the hall closet and it turned into excavation. Old gift bags, shoes she never wore, boxes from appliances we didn't own anymore. Half our life was packaging and decoration. I dragged out her storage bins, labeled with neat handwriting, fall decor, guest bedding, miscellaneous. I stacked them in the garage. Her clothes that were left behind, washed, folded, put in clear tubs. Not burned, not shredded, just gone from my space. The living room was next. I pulled the pointless throw pillows off the couch, the ones that were for show and not for actually leaning on. I moved the couch so it finally faced the TV dead on instead of angled for better conversation flow. I wasn't hosting a magazine spread. I was watching the game. By Monday, work felt different. My desk was the same, my job was the same, but going home didn't mean walking into a minefield of invisible expectations. It meant walking into my place. I signed up for a 3-month gym membership that night. The same one she'd called too expensive, while we dropped money on candles and seasonal table runners. For mornings a week, I was there. No big speeches, no new personality. Just iron, sweat, and the kind of soreness that feels earned. Poker night at Tom Jensen's hit was different too. The guys didn't treat me like I was broken. They cracked jokes, dealt cards, talked trash. I laughed harder than I had in months. A week later, I ran into Kevin Price at the grocery store, an old friend Nicole never liked. We grabbed coffee. At one point he said, "You remember your last birthday? You looked miserable, man." I started to deny it out of habit, then just stopped, met his eyes, and nodded. "Yeah," I said. I was. It was a Saturday in the park. Music from a stage, kids running around, food trucks lined up like a buffet of bad decisions. I was standing in line for a burger, thinking about nothing more serious than extra cheese, when I heard my name. Adam. I turned and saw Emily Carter and Rachel Flores, two women who'd been fixtures in my life as long as Nicole had. Bridal shower planners, wine night regulars, front row at our wedding. For a second, all three of us froze. "Hey," I said finally, neutral. No smile, no scowl. They stepped closer. Emily looked almost nervous. Rachel, less so. "We heard what happened," Emily said quietly. "With Nicole. With Derek." I nodded once. "Yeah, that." Rachel's jaw tightened. What she did was messed up. I blinked. I'd expected awkward small talk, maybe a quick escape. Not that. We ended up at a picnic table with plastic baskets of food and paper napkins, the stage music filling the gaps. It didn't take long before the truth started spilling. Emily picked at a fry. She tried to use us, after she left. Wanted us to tell you to be more understanding, to convince you to take her back. Rachel snorted. And she wouldn't shut up about Derek not being what she remembered. Apparently he's great for flirting and ego, not so great for real life. "So you're not talking to her?" I asked. Emily shook her head. "We told her we weren't going to be her support system while she trashed you and played victim. She didn't like that." Rachel shrugged. "She made her choices. So did we." It was a strange kind of relief, like getting medical confirmation that, yes, the bone was broken, you didn't imagine it. We finished eating, kept talking. No sides, no pressure, just straight lines. Before I left, Emily said, "We do trivia at O'Malley's every Thursday. You should come. You'd actually help us win instead of Nicole arguing with the host." Rachel smirked. "Seriously, we could use someone who knows sports and random history." I thought about my empty Thursdays. I thought about how, for once, I wasn't being asked to fix anything. "Yeah," I said. "Text me the time. I'll be there." For the first time in a long time, an evening plan didn't come with a knot in my stomach. By the time 2 months had passed, my life ran on rails. Work, gym, shower, decent food. Thursdays were trivia with Emily and Rachel. Fridays, poker at Tom's. Every couple weeks, a game or a concert with Kevin. Nothing dramatic, nothing to post about. Just a steady rhythm that didn't require walking on eggshells. Meanwhile, Mark finished. "We're ready whenever you are," he said over the phone. "Once we file, it's real on paper, not just emotionally." "I know," I said. "Hold for now. Are you waiting for something?" he asked. "Just curious how this plays out," I said. She left certain she'd traded up. I want the full picture before we close the book. The pressure started with her family. A text from her mom. "Hi Adam, I just want you to know we love you. Hope you're okay." A week later, "Nicole is having a hard time. I'm not excusing her, but maybe you two could talk?" I answered politely, nothing more. I wasn't going to drag her parents into it. Her brother called one night. "Look, man," he said. "What she did was garbage. If you're done, I get it. I just wanted you to hear that from me." "Appreciate it," I said. "But yeah, I'm done." For a while, Nicole herself stayed quiet. I could feel the assumption even from a distance. She thought I'd cave first, reach out, ask how she was, offer a reset. When I didn't, the dam broke. First text, "We should talk." Then, "Ignoring me is childish. We're adults." Then a longer one about how she'd made mistakes, but we both had a part in this, and how she was ready to forgive me if I could admit where I'd failed her emotionally. That one actually made me laugh. I read it at the gym between sets of deadlifts, shook my head, and put my phone back down. Weeks later, a different tone. Derek and I decided we're better as friends. It wasn't what I thought. There's no reason we can't fix this now. We just needed space. According to her, the man she left me for had downgraded himself to friend. And somehow that meant I was supposed to step back into place, grateful. Messages stacked up. Paragraphs, then walls of text. Late-night calls I let go to voicemail. Apologies threaded with blame. Invitations disguised as ultimatums. While she melted down in my notifications, my life didn't pause. I kept lifting, kept showing up for trivia, kept losing and winning small amounts of money at Tom's table, kept yelling at refs on TV with Kevin. Her words became what they really were, background noise. Spam in a folder I'd open only when I felt like reminding myself why I'd chosen peace. The decision didn't hit me in a rage. It landed while I was folding extra sheets in what used to be the spare room, and had quietly become Nicole's dumping ground. I just cleared the last box of her random junk. Gift bags, old decor, a dead curling iron. When I stepped back and looked at the clean, empty space. For walls, bare floor, open air. My room now. My life now. That was it. I was done leaving the future on pause. The next morning, on my way to work, I swung by Mark Daniels' office. He looked up, surprised to see me without an appointment. "I'm ready," I said. "File it." His expression didn't change much, just got more focused. "All right, we'll move." I handed him the paper where I'd written Derek's address. "Serve her there," I said. "That's where she chose to live. That's where this gets delivered." He studied me for a second, then nodded. "You sure?" "Very." By mid-afternoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Mark. She was served at 3:47 p.m. It's official now. I stared at that timestamp. 3:47 p.m. The moment my marriage shifted from broken in practice to ending on paper. Instead of panic, I felt something like adrenaline drained clean. Just relief. The meltdown started less than an hour later. First a call I let ring. Then another. Then the texts. "What did you do? Are you insane? You're really going to throw away 7 years like this without even talking to me? I'm coming over. We're sorting this out face to face." Old me would have felt his chest tighten at that. New me picked up my keys. I called Emily. "Hey, are you busy tonight?" "Not really." "Why?" she asked. "Nicole got served. She's on her way over to sort this out. I'd rather not be alone in the room when that happens." There was a beat. Then, "Yeah, I'll be there." Rachel didn't even hesitate when I texted. "On my way. Want anything?" I grabbed a couple pizzas on the drive home, dropped them on the coffee table, and straightened up the living room that actually looked like mine now. By the time they arrived, it felt less like waiting for a storm and more like gearing up for a game I finally knew the rules to. We were settled in, me in my armchair, them on the couch, slices in hand, when my phone buzzed again. 10 minutes away, Nicole wrote. I looked around my own living room, at two people who chose to sit with me, not out of obligation, not out of drama, just out of respect. For the first time since this started, I wasn't bracing for impact. I was ready, not to fight for her, but to stand my ground for myself. Headlights swept across the front window, then cut out. A car door slammed. The old knot tried to form in my stomach out of habit. It didn't get far. The front door flew open like she still lived there. "Adam, what the hell is this?" Nicole demanded, stepping inside, and stopping dead when she saw Emily and Rachel on the couch, plates in their laps like it was any other Thursday. Her eyes went wide, then narrow. "Are you serious? You invited them? What is this? Some kind of ambush?" "No," I said. "It's my living room. These are my guests. This is my house too," she snapped, tossing her bag down like a flag. "You serve me divorce papers at Derek's, embarrass me, and then what? Put on a show for my friends?" Rachel set her plate down. "We're not your friends anymore, Nick. You made that pretty clear." Nicole spun on her. "You're really doing this? After everything?" Emily stayed calm. "We told you we weren't going to help you spin this. You walked out on him. You don't get to act shocked that he believed you." Nicole turned back to me, desperate now. Can we talk alone, please? This is between us. I shook my head. Anything you need to say, you can say in front of them. Last time we were alone, you told me to turn myself into Derek to keep you interested. I'm done having those kinds of private conversations. Color rose in her face. I said I needed more confidence from you. I needed you to fight for me. I made a mistake. Okay? Derek wasn't what I remembered. I just needed space to figure it out. You didn't need space, I said evenly. You needed a safety net. You wanted to test drive your ex while keeping me on standby in case he didn't work out. That's not fair, she shot back. Emily cut in. You literally told us you wanted Adam to learn from Derek and come begging so you could feel chosen. That's why we stopped answering your calls. Nicole's head snapped toward her. You betrayed me. No, Rachel said. We stopped enabling you. Nicole glared at me, her voice going sharp. I'm not signing this. I'll fight it. I'll drag this out, I swear to God. You think you can just throw me away? I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. Every text you sent me, every voicemail, the timeline of when you started talking to Derek, when you left, when you came crawling back after he downgraded you to friend. It's all saved. You abandoned the marriage. You moved in with him. There's not much ground for you to fight on. For the first time, I saw it. Fear behind the anger. She tried one more angle. So that's it? 7 years, and you won't even give me a chance? Just say it, then. If you're really done, say the words. Tell me to leave. I stood up, walked to the front door, and opened it. I'm done, Nicole, I said. Leave. The room went quiet except for the TV humming softly in the background. She stared at me, waiting for the crack, the apology, the last-minute please stay. When it didn't come, her face hardened. You'll regret this, she hissed, grabbing her bag. I won't, I said. She stormed out. Tires squealed as she tore away from the curb. I closed the door gently like a normal person shutting out a normal night. When I turned back, Emily and Rachel were watching me. Not like I was broken. Not like I was dangerous. Just solid. How do you feel? Emily asked. I thought about it. No shaking hands. No urge to chase. No fantasy of her turning around. Peaceful, I said. For the first time in a long time. Just peaceful. Life didn't explode after the showdown. It just leveled out. Nicole's storm burned itself out in a couple more angry texts, then stopped. No more midnight calls. No more paragraphs. Just the occasional email forwarded from Mark with some legal attachment and a calm note. We'll respond by Friday. Days turned simple. Work, gym, groceries, trivia nights, poker, games with Kevin. The house stayed clean without me fighting some invisible standard. My evenings were quiet, but not empty. I filled them how I wanted, not how I was assigned. One afternoon, my phone lit up with a number I recognized. Her parents' house. I almost let it go to voicemail, then answered. Hey, Mr. Walker, her mom said. Her voice was tight, but not angry. I just wanted to tell you. We saw how she treated you. We don't blame you for ending it. That hit harder than any apology Nicole could have sent. The negotiations were almost boring. Nicole's lawyer led with a fantasy list. She wanted the house, half my retirement, and a big chunk of savings like she'd been wronged. Mark didn't flinch. She left. No kids, no abuse, short marriage by the court standards. We'll be fair, not generous. Back and forth, numbers and terms. No courtroom drama, no screaming. In the end, she walked with her car, some furniture, and a slice of our joint savings. I kept my retirement, my paycheck, and control of the lease. A few weeks later, Mark called me at lunch. You're officially single, he said. Papers are stamped. It's done. I hung up, looked around my living room that already looked and felt like mine, and realized my life hadn't waited on that stamp. It had just kept going. Trivia that week felt lighter. Poker night, louder. The silence in my house at night stopped sounding like something missing and started sounding like something earned. Someone at work asked me if I regretted the divorce. No, I said. I regret staying as long as I did. 6 months after the judge stamped my marriage dead. My life looked boring from the outside. That's how I knew I was winning. Work, gym, trivia, poker, weekends that didn't end in a fight. My house stayed clean because I actually used what I owned instead of staging it for guests. No surprise mood swings. No, we need to talk ambushes. Just routine. I was going through emails one Tuesday evening. Bills, work updates, junk, when I saw her name. From Nicole Walker. Subject: please read this. My first instinct was simple: delete. My finger hovered over the key. One click and it would be gone, like she'd never tried to push back into my life. But I didn't delete it. Not out of hope. Out of curiosity. You don't spend 7 years with someone and feel nothing when their name pops up. But there's a difference between feeling something and wanting them back. I clicked. It was long. Of course it was. She opened with my name like that was supposed to do something. Adam. Then came the script. She was so sorry. She hadn't realized what she'd done. She wasn't in a good place. She'd started therapy. She finally understood how deeply she'd hurt me. How Derek had dumped her out of nowhere once things got real. How quickly he moved on. How empty it felt when she realized the person she'd thrown me away for didn't see her as a forever plan. She admitted, finally, that she'd treated me like a backup. That she'd wanted me to chase her. Prove my worth. Fight for her after she walked out. She wrote that watching me go quiet instead of begging woke her up. She said she missed me. Missed us. Missed the life we had. She hoped I was doing well. She hoped maybe one day we could talk. No pressure, she wrote, which was a lie the whole email betrayed. She ended with, if you ever want to talk, I'll listen. I'll understand if you delete this. I just needed you to know I'm not the same person anymore. I sat back in my chair and read it again. Not because I was tempted, but because I wanted to make sure I saw every angle clearly. Like rereading a police report so you don't forget why someone has a restraining order. There was something almost funny about it. Not in a cruel way, just reality. She hadn't written to me when Derek was new and shiny. Not when she was finding herself. Not when she was so certain I'd be waiting. She wrote after the fallout. After the consequences. After therapy. After the backup plan failed. There's a pattern some people live by. They don't regret what they did to you. They regret that it didn't work out for them. Closing the email, I didn't feel anger. That part of me burned out somewhere between the dishwasher hum the night she left and the moment I opened the door and told her to go. I dragged the email into a folder. Not trash. Trash is for accidents. This was intentional. A record. Proof that I hadn't imagined any of it. Then I went back to my inbox and answered a message from my boss about a project due Friday. No reply to her. No, I forgive you. No lecture. No last word. Sometimes strength is saying exactly what you feel. Sometimes it's saying nothing at all. That evening, Emily and Rachel came over for dinner. I grilled chicken on the back deck. Threw some vegetables on the pan. Nothing fancy. Tom showed up later with a 6-pack. Kevin with chips and the worst store-brand salsa I've ever tasted. We sat outside as the sky dimmed. The kind of lazy hangout where no one is trying to impress anybody. Tom talked about work. Rachel roasted his taste in music. Emily beat everyone at a stupid guessing game. Kevin told a story about nearly dropping his phone in the stadium urinal. At one point, Kevin looked over at me, beer in hand. You seem good, man, he said. Not pretending good. Just good. I thought about the email sitting unopened a second time in that folder. About the woman who'd finally realized what she'd thrown away. Too late. About the version of me who once would have killed for that apology. I said. No speech, no explanation. Just that. My phone was on the table next to the napkins, screen dark. No dread attached to it. No waiting for the next explosion. If there were more words from her sitting in there somewhere, they weren't my problem. I looked around, at people who chose me without conditions, in a house that finally felt like it matched the man living in it, and understood something clear. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. Some doors don't stay closed because you hate what's on the other side. They stay closed because you've finally built something better on this side, and you're not dumb enough to risk it just to see if the fire that burned you once has cooled.